Hello, and it's great to see you again. My name is Michael Williams, founder and speech coach of Pro90D.com. Today, we're going to be looking at the second part of a three-part series where we're talking about how to overcome nervousness and boost your self-confidence. Nervousness when? Well, nervousness when you're in certain kinds of speaking situations. It could be on a Zoom call or any kind of a video call. It could be in a meeting. It could even be when you're meeting new people, doing presentations, and so forth. So we're going to talk about how you can overcome nervousness and boost your self-confidence. In the first part, in the first video, we talked about reframing. So reframing means instead of thinking and telling yourself, I'm nervous, I'm anxious, oh my God, you're going to reframe that and say something like, I'm really excited about this. Really, really excited about this. And this absolutely works because why would you want to think and say something to yourself that's going to drain you? It's going to suck the energy. Why not reframe that and say something that's going to energize you and excite you? So we're going to be looking at the second part, the second thing that you can do, which is to remind yourself. This has to do with self-talk and affirmations. Now, what are you going to remind yourself of? What are you going to actually say to yourself? So I want to give you a handful of things that you can begin to say to yourself to remind yourself. One of those things is to remind yourself, believe it or not, to breathe. To breathe. Because a lot of times when people are in certain kinds of situations, they actually forget to breathe. And so their breathing gets shallow and they start feeling more and more anxious and nervous. The heart rate goes up. The amygdala begins to take over, that fight or flight response. That begins to take over. Your prefrontal cortex, your thinking brain, starts to shut down in a sense, right? Meaning you are not able to recall or remember the things that you want to say, called cloudy thinking, cloudy brain. So when you breathe, you begin to lower your heart rate. That is, you need to breathe more frequently and breathe more fully. When you do that, you begin to relax yourself down and you're able to think more clearly. So you have to remind yourself, you literally have to tell yourself, not necessarily aloud, just think and tell yourself to breathe. The second thing is to remind yourself to relax. Just keep telling yourself to relax. Now, you can't just say this one time. You can't just say it once. You have to keep repeating it over and over. Breathe, just relax, right? Just relax. And then the third thing that you want to tell yourself is slow down. Take your time. You say, listen, slow down, take your time. So you can say to yourself, I can slow down, I can take my time, I don't have to rush. I can slow down, I can take my time, I don't have to rush. And you say this to yourself over and over and over again. So we talked about three things so far. What was the first one? The first one started with a B. It was what? To remind yourself to breathe, right? And then the second one was to remind yourself to relax, right? And then the third is to remind yourself to slow down. Now, there's another one. You want to remind yourself of something that we call Vic and Rick. Vic and Rick. Now, what is that? Vic and Rick helps you stay focused on what you need to be focused on when you're speaking, when you're in certain kinds of conversations. Vic and Rick is a thinking model. It's very, very simple. The V stands for value. Am I offering value here? Right? That's the V. Now we have a whole program and series on this, so I'm just going to go over it really quickly here. V stands for value. Am I offering value in this conversation, in this meeting, in this presentation, in this interview? Am I answering the question? The I stands for impact. Am I holding their attention with my body language and with my speaking style? Right? Impact. Am I engaging them? Am I impacting them? And then the third one is C for clarity. There's two parts to this. The first part is, am I speaking clearly? That is my speaking style. Can they understand me? Am I enunciating? Am I articulating? I like to call it articulating. Am I enunciating? Am I speaking loud enough? Am I speaking too low? Am I speaking too fast? Am I speaking too slow? So am I speaking clearly? Stylistically. And then the next part is, am I speaking? Have I structured my thoughts clearly? Have I structured my thoughts clearly? That is there a sequence? Is it logical? right? Is what I'm saying logical? Can they follow what I'm saying? So you want to make sure that you're being clear stylistically the way you're speaking and structurally how you structured your thoughts and ideas. Now, we say Vic and Rick. Well, what's the R? Well, the R is simply relevant. And that's more relevant when you're having a conversation, right? When you're having a conversation, just am I being relevant to the conversation? Is what I'm saying important to this person? Is it relevant? Is it important to what we're saying right now, right? Because you may have something important to say, but maybe it needs to be said later. Maybe it doesn't need to be said in that conversation. So it needs to be something that is important right now to these people. Is it relevant? Vic and Rick. So we talked about a few things here that you need to remind yourself of while you're speaking. Before you're speaking, yes, but also while you're speaking. The first one was what? Breathe. The second one was relax. The third one was slow down, take your time. And then we also talked about Vic and Rick. Okay. So I hope that this was helpful. This really does work if you apply it. No, you can't just say it once to yourself. You have to repeat these things over and over. And yes, you do have enough mental capacity to repeat these things to yourself, even while you're speaking, while you're in that speaking situation. All of these things have a scientific basis. They all absolutely work. You may not need to use all of them, but they will absolutely work for you. So go ahead and like this video. If you have comments, leave comments. Let me know what you think about the video. Let me know if you have questions, right? If you have questions that you want me to answer or questions about this video. We'll see you next time. My name is Michael Williams.